Each of us has our own unique background and story of how we became a part of Chiefs Kingdom.
Our reach is far and wide with fans all over the world cheering on our Kansas City Chiefs.
Everyone donning the red and gold has figuratively signed that mutual agreement and come together for one common purpose.
For 76,000 of us at a time to descend upon Arrowhead, man our stations, let out our loudest battle cry to the tune of 142.2 decibels, and make that stadium rock until our opponents beg for mercy.
We are unrelenting in our pride for this city, these players, and this team. This is the show for the allies, Arrowhead Allies.
Welcome into Arrowhead Allies, everybody. This is Nitro Noah Groniger alongside Mr. Electricity, Clint Schweitzer. We've got Brian B. Shinen from Hot 103 Jams, Michael Matthew, the Money Badger from TGN, the Good News out in Hollywood, California, and our good friend Shaggy Shane Williams from Shaggy Shane Entertainment. You can find him on YouTube. Does great post-game after every single Chiefs game.
Thank you.
My friends, you may think Clark Hunt is the owner of the Kansas City Chiefs, but in fact, it is Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. They do it to us again 3 straight times. Boys, what are we making of this, Brian?
Hey, Joe Burrow is Patrick Mahomes' kryptonite. It's as simple as that. The Chiefs have to get over the hump. They were just a better team on Sunday. No need to fear, though, man. The future is going to look good. I'll break down why.
Yeah, the Chiefs, they're going to be all right. I don't think it's Joe Burrow that owns Patrick Mahomes. It's that defense that does a good job of making plays. They stripped Travis Kelce. We look at Travis Kelce as Superman, the greatest tight end ever, possibly. And, they got a big strip on him. And they just, Joe Cool 2. That's what I've been calling him. Joe Cool 2 is the closest thing we've probably seen since, to Joe Montana, I guess if you count Tom Brady, but Tom Brady can't move like my guy Joe Burrow. So it was just a really good game. Sometimes I struggle to compare it to basketball. Brian, you understand as a Laker fan, they're like the Portland Trailblazers. Like the Lakers can never figure out the Portland Trailblazers, especially at the Rose Garden, and that's what they are for the Chiefs.
Shane, I got to ask you this, buddy, because on a macro level, from a 3,500 feet view of this whole situation, the Chiefs have now lost to the Buffalo Bills. They've lost to the Cincinnati Bengals. They currently hold the 2 seed in the AFC playoffs. I always try to look at things on a grand scale, man. So I'm looking at this and I'm looking at what this Chiefs team is and what this franchise is, and they've won a Super Bowl and they've appeared in another. As we look at this, as Joe Burrow now with 3 wins over Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, and we look forward to this year's playoffs, do we sense a potential changing of the guard here? The Bengals were in the Super Bowl last year, remember, not the Chiefs. Is this Chiefs organization closer to the 2015 Denver Broncos Super Bowl champion than they are going to be to the, say, Denver Broncos of 97 and 98 or the New England Patriots of these last few years? Where is this Chiefs team at? And because in my opinion, I think the Chiefs can beat the Bills in the playoffs. I think the Chiefs can beat the Bengals in the playoffs. They can't beat both of them. That's where I'm at right now.
It's a unique situation, and I want to thank you for asking that, and I want to thank you all for giving me the format on Starcade, on Arrowhead Allies. When you look at it in totality for long term, this was a good game for Joshua Williams, Trent McDuffie, Brian Cook, George Karlaftis to get reps at, because they were replacing everybody that was gone from last year, Sorensen, Neiman, yada, yada, yada. So they got reps. Joshua Williams had maybe 1 or 2 plays that were rough. On the game-ending play, he had perfect coverage. If you look at the very end of that game, Joe Burrow put the ball in a tight window. I'm sure you've all seen the All-22. It was just over the fingertips of Karlaftis, which was in zone, just over Brian Cook's head, and just over Joshua Williams' fingers. It was perfect coverage all the way around. You got to give Burrow credit for fitting it through a tight window. And again, for long-term, year 2023, 2024, these kids are getting the reps that they're going to benefit. Now for 22 and the current defensive line. Here's I want to answer that question, Clint, in totality. Where the Chiefs fail on defense is they don't force punts. They don't.
Or turnovers.
Unless the Chiefs went on the road against the 49ers, forced one punt, which was fumbled, but Joshua Williams covered for an interception. The Chiefs went on the road to Cincinnati and forced one punt. That's unacceptable. You're not going to win in the playoffs by only forcing one punt. You can't do that. Our Chiefs defense is going to get a lot better because of the competition they face for the rest of the regular season. So they're going to force a lot more 3-and-outs. But the Jets, Mike White, is it Mike White or Matt White, their quarterback?
Mike White.
Mike White. How many times in the fourth quarter did he take the Jets down to the end zone? Fell short. But you know what the Jets did right away? 3-and-out. The Vikings, then the Jets went right down the field. Oh, they fell short. What'd they do right away? 3-and-out. That Jets defense kept putting the freaking Jets offense in position to win, even though they were blowing it every time they went down to the 10-yard line. The Chiefs don't get 3-and-outs. And people tell me, I've had healthy debates with damn good friends of mine that know a lot about football. They're like, Shaggy, you just have to accept the fact that the Chiefs defensive line isn't going to win in trenches. They are not going to win in trenches. Meanwhile, the Jets continue to win in trenches. The Jets continue to force 3-and-outs. The Jets continue to force punts while Kelsey fumbles on the second play of the fourth quarter. We're supposed to accept that was the reason why the Chiefs lost. No, that was the perfect time for the Chiefs defense to say, you know what? Yeah. We're getting a 3-and-out here because we're going to cover for Travis Kelce, who has bailed us out for years and years. That defense didn't bail them out. They went right down the field and scored on a game-leading touchdown. They did not bail out Travis Kelce. And I was at the freaking defense that can't get 3-and-outs, but nobody in Chiefs Kingdom wants to nobody wants to say it's because of
let me go ahead, Mike.
The Jets defense gets 3-and-outs. The Chiefs defense, no, you can't blame the defense. It's like 2014 when Alex Smith wasn't throwing a touchdown pass to any wide receiver on the roster. They were saying, come on, Shaggy. It's not Alex Smith's fault. Jamal Charles is the man driving this freaking team. And you can't count out that second year. You can't count out that second year tight end, Travis Kelce, who was on injury reserve last year. You can't blame it on Alex Smith for not throwing any touchdown passes to any wide receivers. My butt, I'm going to keep it PG-13. My butt, this defense has to pick Travis Kelce up when he fumbles, get a 3-and-out. The Jets suck, but you know what? They kept giving the quarterback 3-and-outs against a damn good Minnesota Vikings offense. Pick them up, defense. Get a 3-and-out. Get more than one punt a game. Come on.
And Shane, I think that you're 100% right. I believe that, the defensive line, like stopping the run. We talked about it last week about having to make the plays and making the tackles. It was too many plays that should have been 2 yards that became 8, 10-yard runs and things like that. Like if you'd have told me no Joe Mixon, I would have said, okay, this gives us a little advantage. But they let P. Ryan run just as well. Like it was very poor tackling. That's why I think the Chiefs made the move today, because they're going to throw Brandon Williams in there and they're going to hope that he's our Mike Pennell of the Super Bowl year. So that's why you see Taylor get released. So, the Chiefs understand what they need to work on. That's why after the game, Coach Reid talked about tackling. That was one of the things. The coverage was pretty good. No receiver over 100 yards. They kind of did their job. I hate the play towards the end where they had Chase there with 4 guys against 2 and they couldn't make the tackle. But it was tackling that really killed the Chiefs' chance to win this game. And it came back to bite them all the way to the end of the game, because Joe Burrow is going to make plays. You have to accept that. But you have to stop this team from running the ball as well. Make them as much as a one-dimensional team as you can. And that's how you beat them. And the Chiefs didn't do it. So they're hoping that Brandon Williams is going to be a big addition to helping them stop the run going forward. So we're going to see.
Yo, man, I have this dance. Yo, I got so many.
If you dare.
Man, shout out to everybody that's in the chat right now, man.
Yeah.
My brother, Kayla Robinson, happy birthday, my brother. My other brother, Chris, is in here. The chat is popping it. Everybody in the chat is making good points. First off, I want to point out the greatness in Joe Burrow. Like, Like, fam, we gotta respect it. And I think a lot of people in Chiefs Kingdom, like, okay, we're on this. The Chiefs are great. We're on this run. Okay, whatever. But man, you look at the 1980s, right? I look at Joe Montana. He couldn't beat the Giants later on in his career. It was like from 86 on, he had issues with them. He had issues with a lot of those NFC East teams. He had issues.
Eagles at times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He lost to the Vikings in the 86 playoffs. Like, Patrick Mahomes, as great as he is, like, he's human. Like, I can't put it no plainer than that.
Invincible.
He's human, fam. And this league is full of a lot of great players. Man, on that third down, when they needed to have it, when he squeezed that pill to T. Higgins for that first down to seal the game, it don't get no better quarterbacking than that, fam. He stepped up in the pocket. He knew the pressure was coming. He was on him. The D-line did his well.
Mike Dana was there
for not to get to the quarterback.
I don't know what
you know. I don't see. Like, that's just you just reach, and I don't know, man. It's the extra dog that you got to have.
Yep.
You know, to make those type of plays that'll change the entire game. But man, the way that he stepped up in there, and Joshua Williams had great coverage on T. Higgins. He was on his hip, and everybody else was covered too. But the way that Joe Burrow delivered that ball, man, he couldn't have delivered it any perfectly. The velocity, the height of the ball, where he placed it. So, man, like, we gotta give it up to Joe Burrow. He's a great quarterback.
Even though,
go ahead.
Even though, Brian, there's one call of the game that I wish we could have back, and that was earlier in the game.
The referee
interference that they called on Trey McDuffie. It was a terrible call.
It was
roughing the passer.
It is what it is.
Guys fighting.
I'm look, y'all know me. I'm never one to you know. I can't. I get it, man. And they could have, you know, said the same thing on some things, but it swings both ways to me, in my opinion, in that. But Shane, what you said earlier about the defense, that's why you don't give people bulletin board material. Because now you done turn them to extra dogs. There's extra incentive for me to come out here and execute on your ass, because that's what Jamar Chase did. He set the tone from the beginning. He said it. And, you know, the flaunting in front of the face of L'Jarius Sneed and all that, like, all of that stuff counts, fam. It does. It make you prepare a little more. It make you take it. To me, it's personal at that point. And now I want to dog you in front of your mom, in front of your kids, so I can have this tape up and put it on my Instagram. That's why you don't talk outside of the locker room and you know, doing all that jibber jabbing. It just adds extra incentive. And Jamar Chase really, really, really sealed that game when he got the first down after the Chiefs lost all of their timeouts. That was the play right there. And my brother and I, Jared, we were talking about it the other night. Like, who was the guy? I think it was Thornhill on that third down that just couldn't bring him down. And it was the extra dog, and it was the extra fight that Jamar Chase had from the bulletin board material, in my opinion, and the defense just could not bring it. One last point before I get to one last point. I just want to say that this is going to be great later on. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
This is going to learn. These young guys are going to learn from this game. It's going to be a good thing. I promise you it is.
No, I know
last year, and then we lost the AFC Championship game in embarrassing fashion. So
different team.
Well, Noah, I got to ask you, because I want to know where this leaves the Chiefs in the hierarchy here in the AFC. Chiefs have a loss to the Bills. They have a loss to the Bengals, current 2 seed. I alluded to it earlier when I was talking to Shane, and I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at what this is, what this organization is, what it needs to be, what we all think it's going to be. And of course, people got, you know, overextended with themselves when, you know, Mahomes burst on the scene. You start talking dynasty. That is not an easy task. But like I said, are the Chiefs closer to being the 2017 Eagles or 2021 Rams? That really cool story, the one-off, the Aaron Rodgers early in his career, and we just sit back and wait. Oh, well, like Brian said, we got to respect it. Joe Burrow, he's great. He's here forever. Josh Allen, he's here forever. They're waiting for their turn. Where does this leave the Chiefs in the AFC? Or we just got to kind of accept it and can't beat the Bengals, darn.
I think you need a little luck. When we look at the Patriots and the run that they had a lot of luck on their side. A lot of things went their way. And I think that, the Chiefs are just going to need some things to go their way. It's going to take a couple plays in the postseason that we're going to be like, wow, that play happened. And that's why the Chiefs made it, to the Super Bowl. So I think the Chiefs are going to be all right. It's just, they have it much tougher than the Patriots did because you have a Joe Burrow, because you have a Josh Allen that you have to face against. And that's why the defense has to, get their act together, because it's going to take the defense making some plays for the Chiefs to get back to the Super Bowl and to win another Super Bowl. But I think the Chiefs are all right. We don't need to panic. We're losing to Joe Burrow, guys. Joe Burrow is not a bum. Like, if this was Tyler Huntley or somebody like that we continue to lose to, then it will probably be a problem. But it's Joe Burrow, a guy who is a baller. The Chiefs are going to figure it out, man. I trust Patrick Mahomes. I trust Andy Reid. We're going to get some guys healthy. We need to figure it out with our tackles, because Wiley and Brown killed us this game. But I trust in Andy Reid. I think he can figure something out to get the Chiefs exactly where, we're looking and hoping for them to be.
Noah, what do you think?
I mean,
Go ahead.
Mahomes exploded upon the scene with 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns, MVP. Then we win the Super Bowl MVP. And we're just coming off the Patriots dynasty as Brady kind of moves on and goes to Tampa, and things aren't going well at the end of his Patriots tenure there. And they're missing the playoffs and getting 2 seeds and not performing well in the playoffs. And so I think everyone just jumped on, this is going to be a dynasty. I know I did. And that's what I wanted. And we have the best quarterback in the game, and no one can compare to him. No one can measure to him. People are trying to anoint Lamar Jackson as the guy that's going to rival Patrick Mahomes. Then Baker Mayfield's going to be the guy that's going to rival Patrick Mahomes. And so Chiefs Kingdom jumped on this and wanted it so bad for this to be a dynasty, 4 straight home AFC Championship games. And now we're seeing other teams catch up and our team fall behind a little bit from where we were. The dominating fashion, we're seeing Josh Allen step up and the Bills making great moves, bringing in Stephon Diggs, and that's bringing them closer in competition to the Chiefs. Joe Burrow and the Bengals and Jamar Chase bringing them closer in competition with the Chiefs. And the Chiefs are kind of in the pack now, where they were ahead of everyone else, and now they're in the pack with the Bills and the Bengals of the world. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating to see, because I thought Mahomes was invincible. I thought Mahomes was Superman. I thought no one could rival him and stand up to him. And there wasn't a Joe Burrow that got to give it up to Joe Burrow. He just beat Mahomes. I didn't want to hear that. Just no, Mahomes is taking down everybody. He's Superman. Get out of my face, like Tom Brady did to the NFL for years and years and years. Peyton Manning, you're good, but when it comes to the playoffs, I got your number. I'm winning the Super Bowls. You can go home, sit down. And that's what I wanted Mahomes. And now we are a very good football team in a fight with a couple other teams, instead of, no, everyone else stay home. We're going to every Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, but it wasn't Tom Brady. It was that you had Bill Belichick that was coaching together a defense that, gave Tom Brady all the opportunities that he needed. With the Chiefs, they're built more towards the offensive end. Their coach is an offensive guy. So that's why it looks a little different. And then the league is just tougher. Like, you got quarterbacks who study Tom Brady's, the Brett Favre's, and all these guys, to where you're going to have to compete a little more. If we were on the NFC, you probably would look at it that way. Like, the Chiefs are by far the best team. But they're in the AFC, where you have Josh Allen, where you have Lamar Jackson and Joe Cool, part 2. It's just going to come down to, the team adjusting and making the moves that they need to get better. But why are we in a panic? We're 9-3. We're about to win the AFC West. We have a young defense that's going to get better by the end of the season. We're all right, guys. Calm down.
Well, I'm
been in the NFC long enough. They were in the AFC West. They moved to the NFC West. They've been in the NFC too long. It's time for us to swap places. It's our turn to be in the NFC.
Well, I am panicked because we can't beat the Bills and Bengals in the playoffs. Not both. We can't.
It's important because we need to look at it in totality. Michael's right. What are we panicking for? It's not panicking. It's hardcore criticism that this team needs, because against good competition, this defense plays on its heels every game. When they're in a dogfight, they're instantly on their heels. I mean, just off the top of my head, the 49ers drives went like this: touchdown, their only punt. Carlos Dunlap makes a sensational play. Their second half possessions, field goal. Travis Kelce fumbles, touchdown. Then they run out the clock. If the Chiefs only only get one, if the Chiefs get 1 3 and out, maybe in the third quarter, maybe I was too hard on them to get a 3 and out after Kelsey's fumble. If the Chiefs get 1 3 and out, that's something that nobody's talking about. I do give Joe Burrow his credit. I do. He deserves it.
Yes.
But Steve Spagnuolo and this entire defensive coaching staff and that defensive line, if the Chiefs get 1 3 and out in the second half, the Chiefs are going to get points. So if the Chiefs, when they play against better competition in January, when we run into Cincinnati again, when we run into Buffalo again, regardless of where it's at, Spagnuolo has to dial up a scheme to where his defense is not consistently on their heels, because they're on their heels. The Perrine, the Serge Perrine, the backup running back to Mixon, the Chiefs are missing tackles, but it goes back to the 49ers game. The 49ers only punted once, but the Chiefs were getting turnovers and pulling away. We have to make teams punt the football consistently in January to win. And once the Chiefs start forcing the opposition to punt, there's nobody that's going to touch us. Nobody.
Oh, let me have the floor, please. Listen, man. Noah, you and Clint, you were trying to, encapsulate, I guess, where the Chiefs are, right? Noah,
It's
first
important.
off, I think your expectations are like
I said they were wrong.
like this is the NFL.
Mhm.
It is not built for any team to exceed ahead of the pack for a very long time. It's just not.
True.
And there
Nobody
were
told Tom Brady that. He's like, screw that. I'm doing it.
look, Tom Brady is a one-of-a-kind unicorn.
Unicorn.
Oh, I
Ultimate,
thought we had one.
no, we do. It's 27. He was born in 1995, the same year New Jersey Drive came out. The story is
Good reference.
written, okay? We got a long way to go as far as that's concerned. But let's roll back that time machine real quick. You know I love to do it. All right, let's go to the 80s. Look at your top teams in the 80s. The Niners, Washington, the
Giants.
Giants, maybe the Bears, I guess, even with the one Super Bowl, and throw in Denver, throw in the Browns.
Cincinnati.
Like
Honestly.
Cincinnati. All of those teams were in the middle of the pack. They beat each other up a lot of times. It was one team. Yes, the Niners, they got 4 Super Bowls in that decade. And perhaps the Chiefs may get 4 this one. We don't know. Let's go to the 90s. Who's your dominant teams?
Cowboys.
The Cowboys, the Broncos, the Bills, the Packers,
Niners and
Niners, I guess. You know, those teams beat each other up all the time. Yeah, there was one team who exceeded the Cowboys, who won 3. Niners won 1. Broncos won 2. All right, 2000s. It was the Patriots. It was Baltimore,
Steelers.
the Steelers,
Bucks.
the Colts. You know, those we saw it. Those teams beat each other up. The Patriots, they got 3 that decade. Okay, cool. Colts got 1. Let's see. Steelers got 2.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Let's go to the 20 teams. Patriots, Ravens again.
You got the random Eagles, random
Seahawks. You know, look, man, the Chiefs are in, as long as the Chiefs are in that group, there was never one team who really like dominated like 5 Super Bowls or anything like that. But there was always those group who beat each other up. Tom Brady's nemesis and was always the Ravens. They got the best of him in the playoffs sometimes. It is what it is, man. As long as the Chiefs stay in a group with the Chiefs, the Bengals, the Bills, the Niners, the AFC, we have never seen the conference be this strong this year. And even with the Raiders and the Broncos falling off, man, you still got like 4 or 5 Super Bowl contenders. I still think Baltimore is a Super Bowl contender.
not remotely.
I only see 3 contenders, but
Are you just saying Bills, Chiefs, Bengals at this point? I
Yeah.
can understand that.
Yeah.
I still think the Dolphins are dangerous. I think the Jets can
that
be
defense is
dangerous.
trash.
If Mike White, well, the Dolphins are going to lose in cold weather. I'll just throw that in there right now. But my point is, man, the Chiefs are in the pack. The Chiefs were. I never considered the Chiefs to be exceedingly above the pack ever.
I did.
As a full team, no. At quarterback, yes, we have the best quarterback in the game, but as a full team, no. The Chiefs was 6-4 in 2019. 6-4. We lost to the Titans. Okay, and the Chiefs were down bad. Patrick Mahomes was just coming back from an injury. They strung together a winning streak on their way to steamroll and everybody coming back, everybody from to the Super Bowl in that year. No need to panic. Everything is cool. We lost to a good team on the road by 3 points.
Yep.
It's not a panic. Maybe it's more symbolic than anything, and to see where this is going to be, because the Chiefs very likely are going to have to beat the Bengals and the Bills to get back there. Then we can kick the can down the road. Oh, well, the Bengals were just better this year, and we'll just keep kicking the can down the road till Mahomes is 38 years old and has won 1 Super Bowl like Aaron Rodgers. That's my fear. That's my fear. That's my fear, Shaggy Shane.
Yeah, but you may just have to see one of those. The Bengals and Bills might have to face off. You know, if the Chiefs could somehow get to that top spot.
Yeah. Good point. It's not a certainty.
I love the competition. I love it. Bring it on. We all want it. I think, just as somebody who watched this franchise turn around when Marty Schottenheimer came here, when the Kansas City Kings were bigger than the Chiefs, and then watch Marty Schottenheimer turn it around. Marty Schottenheimer was going to turn it. We're going to fault Marty Schottenheimer for sticking with the wrong kicker when he was slumping and starting the wrong quarterback in playoffs in '97. But one thing Marty he was going to lose, but you weren't going to push him around. That's where I come from. I don't like to see the defense get pushed around all the time. I watch the noon games before the Chiefs games start. I'm like, wow, that team got a 3 and out on defense. Man, wonder what that's like. I don't know, because the Chiefs don't get 3 and outs. They don't, and it sucks. And I'm going to critique it. Yes, I'm happy because I'm living in an era where we got a franchise quarterback that I love. Fair. I've been championing him before he was drafted, but it still eats at me that we can't get a 3 and out to save our freaking lives.
Well, that's part of this whole process, Noah. We talked about it. Every week we've gone into the secondary, the Joshua Williams, now Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson. We've got into it, and now Justin Reid and Juan Thornhill at safety seem to be a little bit of a crutch, if you will. Justin Reid says he played really well. He just ask him. He did. But there it is. Thank you, Noah. You got the graphic ready. Wow. Our producers are just wonderful here. So there it is. I mean, what do we make of these comments? And Justin Reid seems like a guy that could be one and done here in Kansas City, despite the deal he made.
Hey, keep talking, man. You know, it's that type of game. You got to talk your talk.
Oh, no.
It's just the expectation is you got to show up and play.
Oh, so Justin Reid can't do that part.
As long as he doesn't troll Chiefs fans on Instagram and Twitter specifically.
The Raiders fan.
You know what I mean? Like Honey Badger did. I didn't like that. I thought, whoa, Honey Badger, you're taking this too far because you're looking for him. He put that out there. He's obviously upset because millions of people are hounding him, and he probably woke up on the wrong side of the bed on 2 hours of sleep, thinking about it all night. Today was the off day and tweeted that. Do we like it? Not really, but it's not going to bother me as long as he just keeps it to himself and doesn't make it a consistent problem. What do you think, Brian?
Come out there and play, baby.
I want him to y'all know me, man. I want you to be bro. Like, you got to respect your opponent. This is we just talked about. It's a National Football League where the competition is closer than you think or than you realize. And I think Justin Reid I think Justin Reid is a solid safety, but fam, the solid safeties don't quite frankly do all that talking. So he's his own man, but me, in my opinion, if I'm Coach Reid, and he did that, he said it in a press conference. He said, we don't do that. And I would prefer people not to do that. And so I just think it just adds unnecessary fuel to an already flaming fire.
Yeah, it's like the Honey Badger. Honey Badger, we know he was on that field talking crazy, but he backed it up more times than not. So Justin Reid, if you're going to talk, you better back it up, because that tape didn't look too great against Cincy. So let's see if he can bounce back, against Denver and then the rest of the way here, because it's all about getting better. For the defense, we already knew it was going to be a challenge throughout the year, but it's all about getting better and improving. So hopefully they can get better and improve leading into the playoffs.
Here's
Mike-
one for us. A Raiders fan making fun of us for losing 3 in a row to the Bengals. A Raiders fan.
Michael, this is good though. You could maybe talk to this guy. Only one nation, Raiders Nation. Hard to even read all that. I don't see how you would put those letters together. Well, you got them you said they might be a playoff team, and guess what? After Thursday, they're going to be 6-7 and in the playoff hunt, Michael. So you might have something in common here with our Raiders fan that's in the stream.
Hey, shout out to Devontae Adams. I met him in Vegas at the Pac-12 championship game.
Who the hell wasn't at that game? Who was not at the Pac-12 championship game is my question.
That game had all of the big names there. Willie McGinnis, I was able to meet. It was, a big-time moment. But shout out to Devontae. I told you guys they have a chance looking at, the Chargers and some of the teams at the bottom. But now that game may be bigger for the Chiefs the final week of the season, so that might ruin their season, but we'll see.
Okay, there it is.
Yeah, man, like Chris said, the future Mr. Casey in the building. Shut your mouth and play football, fam.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm with that.
Okay.
Yeah. No
one thing on the secondary, that last play, we had Trent McDuffie and Juan Thornhill doubling Chase. And then we had kind of singled up because Justin Reid was like in the corner of the end zone talking to fans or something. He wasn't even in the play. We had Joshua Williams on T. Higgins and L'Jarius Sneed on Tyler Boyd. Any concern? Anybody want to switch Sneed on Higgins there and Williams out to Boyd?
It was if Joshua Williams was stumbling all over him like Phillip Gaines, or if he was lost in coverage like William Barty, I'd be concerned. But man, Joshua Williams had really good coverage. I don't know, maybe. I mean, that window
coverage just doesn't seem to make the play, and that kind of reminds me of a Phillip Gaines. He was always right there, never made the play.
Phillip Gaines would have fell down a couple times, but I don't know if would have made a difference. I mean, if Karlaftis had long fingernails, he might have deflected it when he jumped. I mean, that window was so tight. Like I said, when I started my rant at the beginning of the show, that I give Burrow credit for that freaking tight window. Man, it was. Brian Cook was there too. It was like he went over 3 rookies who were right there. I'll give Burrow credit. They were right there. They had hands, heads, fingernails, arms right in the right place. He put it in the right money. What do you think, Michael? Do you think Sneed would have done any better with his arm in front of the receiver?
No, I think it was just shout out to John James, LeBron James' little brother. But I think that it was just a great pass. Like sometimes you have to give respect. It's kind of like when you guarding Steph Curry in basketball. Sometimes he's going to make a 3 where you're like, oh my God, like how did you make that? You pat him on the butt and say, hey, great shot. And it's what Patrick Mahomes does to a lot of teams, to where he makes throws to where you're just like, damn, like what a ball. I can remember earlier in the year, the touchdown pass, I believe against the Raiders that he made to Justin Watson stepping up in the pocket, where it was just like, man, perfect ball, great coverage, But I like the way, I like what the secondary did. It was just the tackling that really irked me, because we came in knowing from last year, the 2 games was just tackle. Keep a 3-yard run, a 3-yard run. Keep that 7-yard catch, a 7-yard catch. But they weren't tackling, so that's when you need the Willie Gays, the Nick Boltons, the guys on the D-line to step up, Justin Reid to step up, Juan Thornhill. So it's tackling for me that was a huge issue.
Well,
shout out to my dog John James from the Kingdom Cast, man. Check out that podcast too, another great Chiefs podcast. But that speaks to the greatness of Joe Burrow that I was speaking about earlier. And there was times, man, where he was throwing over Willie Gay. He was making our linebackers look silly a couple of times in some play action plays and some RPO zone read type things. Like the linebackers they couldn't quite get to the spots they needed to get to. And Joe Burrow was just, like you said, Shane, he was delivering that pill, man, in those tight windows. He had an A+ game in a big time situation. Look at it from the Bengals point of view too. The Bengals were 7-4. They're at home. You know that they've been talking about this game all week at home in Cincinnati. They're hungry. Their team is coming together. They're getting a little juice from Jamar Chase coming back, and their fans are hyped, and they want to beat us 3 times in a row. So I think the Bengals, going into that game, A, had a lot more riding on it. B, You saw it on the field. They played with a lot more passion, and they wanted it more than us. It was as simple as that in football terms.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we're going to turn the page on this Bengals thing and look forward because there's 5 games left. And Noah, I've got to ask you because we've heard Travis Kelce talk back in 2020 about coming off that Super Bowl season. They just wanted to fast forward through the regular season. It's kind of boring. Just get us to the playoffs. That's where the excitement is. 5 games to go, and the 1 seed's still on the line. Do you expect the Chiefs to have kind of a renewed sense of focus coming through these last 5 games, all of which the Chiefs are going to be favored in to win, all of which they should win? How do you see these last 5 games go? And do you feel like as a fan that you're going to kind of sit back and kind of like Travis Kelce felt in 2020, just get us to the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, winning is expected over these last 5, at least in Chiefs Kingdom. Of course, we got to go out there and take it and take advantage of the schedule that we have in front of us. And we can't. I'm just really struggling with these last 5 games and just how we look at it. And because we've seen us drop a game to the Bills and the Bengals, and this isn't going to tell us a lot about this team moving forward. It's about, I think, young player development. It's about the chemistry. It's about just kind of honing in and getting the fundamentals down, moving into the playoffs and figuring out how best to use Kadarius Toney and how best to scheme up our defense and where to put these young corners. Who can we trust at linebacker? Can we trust these safeties? And how are we going to use them come the playoffs? And what kind of schemes are we going to do? So that's what I'm looking for these last 5 weeks. And I'm not going to be able to take a lot from it and be able to puff my chest out and feel confident going into the playoffs, really, no matter what happens in these last 5.
Yeah, I agree with you, Noah. And I want to say this too. No more Rams games. The Chiefs should have steamrolled the Rams. All right. That score should have been way, way, way better than that. And Andy Reid teams sometimes have a tendency to lose focus. Sometimes in the dead part of the season. Most of the times that happens in October. But now it's time to lock in, bro. It is. There's no room for error. There's no room for being lackluster. Like, if we don't go down to Houston and score at least 40 points, and it should be 40-something-0. That's what I'm expecting when we go to Houston in a couple weeks. By the way, Houston, they got to see the Cowboys this week. Then they got to see us. Ooh. number one draft pick is yours, Houston, and Kansas City coming up in the draft in 2023. Be that as it may, look, we need to pound the Broncos for the 14th and 15th straight time. I want to see us dominate the Seahawks because they're going to be fighting for a playoff spot as well. And we need to take care of business versus the Raiders. There's no more room for error. You cannot. Everybody needs to be focused in on every game is the playoffs now. Because now we need that 1 seed because we do need that 1 week off, which is such an advantage going into the playoffs because that's 1 less week of preparation, 1 less week of wear and tear on your bodies. And so it's a real advantage. But the Chiefs still have a great shot, though, man. The Bills still got to see the Bengals. All right. Yep. The Bengals ain't going nowhere. Bills still got to see the Jets and the Dolphins, too.
Yeah. Interesting. It's going to be interesting.
Go ahead, Mikhail.
Yeah, I'm really going to be looking at 2 parts of the team. I'm going to be looking at the running game and seeing, the growth and the confidence of Andy Reid and Pacheco and McKinnon to make sure that these guys are getting the ball, especially, with the O-line having its struggles at the tackle spots, seeing those guys doing their thing because, it's working. Like Pacheco is doing his thing. We have burst out of the backfield and it's working. So you want to see them do it more. So let's see what Andy can do to kind of throw off some of these defenses going forward to help out Patrick as we get, a healthy McCole Hardman and Toney there. And then on the defense, stopping the run, let's see what Brandon Williams, is he going to be what Mike Pennell brought to the Super Bowl championship team? If he can help be that guy, just that big body to make it tough, to let our linebackers get free and let Chris Jones get free, because the whole Nati thing, we brought him back for another year. It's failed. Like, he hasn't really played to the level that we've seen him in the past. So hopefully Brandon Williams, who knows some of a little bit of the scheme, he knows the defensive line coach can make an impact, and we can see more from the pass rush. But those are the 2 things: the D line up front, then the O line and the run game going. I think if we can get those things going, we can look good going into the playoffs.
The next two games are against the worst two teams in the AFC. I'm going to get a lot of text and direct messages after the Chiefs get a lot of 3 and outs saying, I thought we couldn't get 3 and outs. We're getting 3 and outs against the Texans and Broncos all day. Yeah, I understand that.
Who's that person? I want to meet them.
But
don't call me out, Shane.
The Chiefs have to go out and, just like Brian said, they got to show Denver and Houston we're not going to fool around. After the Chiefs lost to the Bengals last year on January 2nd, the Chiefs then went to Denver and Drew Lock ran all over us. It took Melvin Ingram to knock the ball out of Melvin Gordon's hands for our rookie linebacker Nick Bolton to take it 85 yards to win that game. The Chiefs cannot sleepwalk through Denver like they did after they lost to Cincinnati last year. I think that's the only paranoia I have about this game coming up. But the Broncos don't score. They don't move the ball. They do have a good defense, but the Chiefs should find a way to win this game at least by 15.
I like it.
We got a Raiders fan here saying Chiefs going on a losing streak. It's in their heads.
You can
hope, you can dream.
Hey, let them talk.
Dare to dream.
We finna wrap the division up next week. And thank you for the help in that. Let them talk.
Yeah,
the Raiders ain't won a division since I was in high school.
2002.
37. Right? That was my sin. It was what, fall winter 2002.
Yeah.
Right? That was my senior year of high school. All right. That's 20 years ago.
I was in middle school, man. So you know that's a long time ago.
A lot has changed since. I mean, the Raiders have only made the playoffs twice since that. So that's another. I mean, I've always said the Raiders fans have a great short-term memories. I wish I could be that way. They could just totally turn the slate, turn it off, and go on to the next bit of trash talk, and they don't miss a beat. God bless them for that. The Chiefs, there's not a rivalry in sports where a team owns another team like the Chiefs and Raiders. The winning percentage is astronomical. The Chiefs' record against the Raiders since 1990 is unfathomably weighted in the Chiefs' favor. But that's why we love it. Keep coming in and keep doing it. We appreciate you watching there.
That's in 3 different cities too.
It's in 3 different cities.
And we've got the last thing on the Bengals here. Someone really wanted us to talk about why we can't sack Joe Burrow. Always seems to get away from us. He did in the AFC Championship game. He did this last Sunday. He's just got great pocket presence. He gets away, and we just cannot get home. We fall off him. We're so close, and then he zings the ball away like Mike Dana was right there, but he gets the ball right to T. Higgins, perfect spot. Like Brian said earlier, we just got to give him his credit. He's a great quarterback. I didn't want to see one. I didn't want a rival for Mahomes, but we've got him, and Josh Allen and Joe Burrow. Unfortunately for us, and we're in this pack, and you got to tip your cap to Joe Burrow when he moves in the pocket and just never lets you sack him. And we just don't get a lot of great pressure anyway from our D-line.
You just want it as easy as possible, don't you?
Yeah.
Not as easy as possible. I like a little challenge, but us to always come out on top. Yes. So
hey, the NFL ain't going to work like that. The TV ratings ain't going to work like that. It's the reason why the NFL is king, is because everybody got it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And hey, let's try something different next time. I want to see some contained defense. You know, kind of let 2 guys try to get after them and let the other guys contain. And, you know, let's see something different. We kind of saw the same defense being played in 3 straight L's. I want to see something different next time.
You want to know what's frustrating? Even though I thought the play calling was pretty good on Sunday, you know, when they drop 8 and Patrick Mahomes, he still has to, you know, deal with the pass rush. That's concerning to me.
Orlando Brown's playing terrible, but go ahead, Brian.
That's it.
That's it. I mean, Nick Jacobs on Twitter is showing all 22 footage. I don't know if you guys follow him, but he's just showing Orlando Brown Jr. is just having a terrible season. I know somebody tried to throw up some stat last week saying, oh, look at this. He's doing pretty good.
I think that was Lance.
Yeah, big players make big plays in big-time games. That's what Pat Mahomes Sr. always says. And it seems like every big game, Orlando Brown Jr. Gets pushed back a lot. He gets pushed back on his heels a lot.
And that's with the Bengals rushing 3 and dropping 8, 75% of the time.
Yes. So he bet on himself. He bet on himself with an inexperienced agent. He lost, Brett Veach has got too much all 22 footage from Nick Jacobs to show to his inexperienced.
And I wish we had Eric Fisher like the Dolphins do. That's who I wanted all along as the Chiefs left tackle.
Yep. I know it means that they're going to have to pay for one in free agency next year, but I think it's a concern. It's a concern. Are they going to go to Christian? Who's the backup? It's not going to be Yang. Is it Christensen? I mean,
Lucas Yang.
I don't know, man. Andy Reid's pretty hard headed when it comes to replacing
Prince Tega Winogo.
You know, we saw many times, but like Brian was saying, and I didn't mean to steal his thunder, I felt like he was going towards Orlando Brown. So that's a concern. 3-man rush. And Brian, even on the Kelsey fumble, that Nick Jacobs just tweeted out about an hour ago. It was the 3-man rush. One guy just pushes Orlando Brown all the way back into his face. And on the final play on 3rd and 2, where Patrick Mahomes, everybody says, why didn't he hit McKinnon? Why didn't McKinnon look? McKinnon was right there from the snap. From the moment Patrick Mahomes got the snap, he was running for his life because that guy blew in by Orlando Brown. And it was just like, oh my God. I think he could have hit McKinnon if he would have not been in panic mode as soon as he received the snap. So Orlando Brown, in my opinion, I know some love him, but he's failing, and he's failing miserably on the biggest stage against the biggest opponent.
I also want to point out that the Chiefs missed Joe Tooney. Even though the running game was there and it looked good, Joe Tooney was missed in that and pass protection. And the Chiefs got to run the ball more, man. It was, like I said, the play calling was cool, but it seems like they take the ball out of Pacheco's hands way too much for me, especially in red zone opportunities. I would just like to see just a little bit more. Andy Reid is doing better with the run, but man, you would like to see that offensive line really take over because they struggle in run protection, pass protection, and they seem to be better and at their best when they're running the ball, especially 77.
Not to go down a Brett Veach rabbit hole here, but we saw the news of the Titans letting go of their GM, John Robinson, because they didn't like the roster construction and how things were playing out there, getting rid of A.J. Brown, bringing in Treylon Burks. What do we think of Brett Veach and this roster construction, and how big of an offseason is this upcoming offseason for Brett Veach? Again, not to go too in-depth with this, too long with this, but just with the news of John Robinson and then letting him go because of roster construction in key areas. Brett Veach has failed, offensive tackles, pass rush. So what do we think? What do we make of this?
Get a left tackle and a defensive end.
He's tried and he's failed. Yeah, so what do we do now?
You keep trying. You're Patrick Mahomes needs a left tackle.
And if he keeps failing, that's what I'm saying. If he keeps, what do we think of this offseason? How big of an offseason is this to fill the holes successfully?
Well, we did get a Nick Bolton out of the trade with the Ravens, so I'll take that. But since he did fail with Orlando Brown, you got to keep trying. He's not going to get fired. He's built this entire roster up with he's changed over this entire roster from 4 straight AFC Championship games at home. You know, he's replaced everybody that's been replaced, so we could be put in that position. But I think that if he's failed by trading for Orlando Brown, then you have to keep trying. You have to get that. You either draft your left tackle and develop him, or you get the best free agent left tackle available, but you're also going to have to get a pass rusher. So if you pick up it's something that we can expand on in March, but I think you're going to either have to pay a lot of money for a pass rusher and draft a left tackle or vice versa. So we'll cross that bridge then. What do you think, Michael?
I can remember coming into the season that a lot of people were saying that this is like a rebuild year for the Chiefs. Like some people they're going to try to figure it out, but here we are, you know, right there in the middle, one of the teams that can possibly win the Bowl. So I think Brett Veach kind of expected some of this stuff, and he's going to be working, you know, to get a DN, to get a tackle to replace Brown. The Chiefs are going to be all right. You know, we just have to trust in Veach, trust in Andy Reid, and go from there.
I think Veach has his strengths and weaknesses. I think his best work comes in the mid to late rounds, especially
at certain positions too.
And yeah, definitely. DN is not his strength.
Receiver, not a strength. Tackle, not a strength.
Cornerback strength.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
I guess.
Come on, man. We're starting 2 rookies And we got another rookie in the slot. And we got another rookie at safety. Come on, Noah. Get a man some credit in that defense.
Do we have to do that? I don't know. I mean, I get it.
I'm just not ready to mark them down as all pros, or they're not going to be Marcus Cooper. They could. That's out there.
So you think that those defensive backs got absolutely dominated against the Bengals, against one of the best receiving corps, probably the top
dominated
corps. You think they got like dominated in that game against Cincinnati? That leaves you with a sour taste in your mouth the way they played?
Not dominated. I don't want to be dealing with this. I don't want to be dealing with learning and developing when I'm trying to win Super Bowls here.
We got to look. We knew going into the season.
You guys promised us that by now that they're not rookies anymore, too. By the way,
rebuild year.
This is the end of the season. They've been playing all year. They're not rookies anymore.
That was a playoff game on the road against the Bengals.
It wasn't the playoffs yet.
Y'all act like these guys can't learn from this.
They'll learn.
I don't see why you lack the confidence in watching something once. Watching something once, having it on tape, and knowing what they could do, and having it in your back pocket when the next time that you play the Bengals, because you're going to see them again. It's all about development, bro. This is the Chiefs are rebuilding this year.
Well, like Michael said,
was not on this roster last year. So, man, like to be 9-3 right now, going into week 14. Come on, man.
I like the future of Joshua. I like the future of our rookie cornerbacks better than extending Mike Hughes or giving Charvarius Ward a big contract, because Joe Burrow would have done the same thing to Mike Hughes and Joe Burrow or Charvarius Ward.
Stephon Gilmore was out there. I would have liked to have had him.
It's more devil's advocate.
Spags defense.
I like these pieces. It's more devil's advocate. Just, I try to look at things from multiple perspectives, and I like these guys. I think Trent McDuffie has all the makings of being a number one corner in this league.
That's good.
And,
I like what I've seen so far. I'm just not ready to say, like, we're set at those positions. He's nailed it. He's hit on it. They could be Marcus Cooper. We saw Marcus Cooper come out, play really well. Everyone we're trying to anoint him. Hey, we got that. We got a corner there. And then he fell off the face of the planet.
You know what, Noah? You're right about Marcus Cooper. He looked really good, and then he played against Peyton Manning, and he got shredded. He played against Phillip Rivers and got shredded. And you know where that screwed up Marcus Cooper? It screwed him up mentally. He never got over getting shredded by Peyton Manning and Phillip Rivers during that 3-game stretch, and he wasn't the same. We're going to see this mental makeup from Joshua Williams. Joshua Williams tweeted himself. He said, "I can do better," and he tweeted it.
I'm confident
hearing that. Yeah,
I'm confident in that.
Put it on his shoulders. It's mental. How Jalen Watson and Joshua Williams, as well as Trent McDuffie, learn they can't get ate up like Marcus Cooper did. I think Marcus Cooper got high on himself because he was somebody we took up the scrap heap from Seattle during the final cuts on Labor Day weekend in 2013. And then he was like, "Oh, he's good. He's good." And then once Peyton Manning got to him and Phillip Rivers got to him, he was toast because he lost it here. We're going to check.
And like Clint said, I like these corners. I like what I've seen. Like he said, we're just kind of playing devil's advocate. I'm not going to say that Veach absolutely hit on those. There's another option. There's another route that this could go. Nobody wants it to go there. We don't foresee that going there. They've played well up to this point, but there is another route it can go.
We need to believe in them. Believe in them.
If they keep their heads on and have a short memory, they'll grow.
It's a defense mechanism for me in case it does go the Marcus Cooper route. I have that built in that, I talked about that. I saw that could be a possibility. I'm okay. I can handle this.
We're going to get you some therapy for that, Noah.
Yes. That's what this is supposed to be, guys.
We said this is going to be a therapy session. So, well, I guess I owe Brian, Michael, Shane, and Clint $100 an hour. So
I know
another 100.
I know everybody in the stream's here to hear our play-by-play breakdown of the Denver Broncos. You want to see this number one scoring defense. You want to see what the Chiefs are going to be able to have for them on the road. And you came here for that, and we're not going to give it to you. We are not going to give it to you. We're going to give you our predictions. We're going to predict this game. But guys, if we're getting into the weeds and we're going into the ins and outs of this and the matchups, I think we're already kind of lost there. We don't need the X's and O's this Chiefs-Broncos game. To me, someone mentioned in the chat before, how many times is this now the Chiefs beat the Broncos? The answer is 13. I think Brian answered that earlier. 13 times in a row. dating back to September of 2015, which should have been another Chiefs win, by the way. Different story for a different day. Jamal Charles fumbled that to Roby, I think, picked up that Bradley Roby returned that fumble for a touchdown for a win for the Broncos. But guys, it's prediction time. Welcome to it. Chiefs Broncos. It's been flexed to 3:05
Thank God.
here this Sunday. I like the Chiefs in this game, and I like it to be, I don't know, 27-14.
What do you think?
Touchdown.
Anybody else? Anybody else?
That's crazy, Clint.
Okay, I'll cut in. I think the Chiefs have a lot to prove, and I don't know the status of McCole or Tony, but I'm gonna go with just a solid 30 to 16 score. Chiefs win on the road.
Yeah, I'm gonna say basically the same thing. I'll piggyback on Brian, 30 to 16. If it's not 30 to 16, if we're sitting there 10 minutes left in the game going, man, this is like last year when we played Denver, I'm gonna be a little upset, but we got to win. But I'll take 30 to 16. What do you think, Noah?
Got good defense, man.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be kind of a dud game. I'm predicting just 24-13, 11 point, just workmanlike win. They're bummed over the Bengals. They feel like they can roll the ball out against the Broncos and just kind of lick their wounds in this game and still get the W, 24-13. What about you, Mike Hill?
I'll say 27-14 as well, Clint. I think that, the Chiefs are just going to do enough. It's on the road. So, playing in Denver is always, can be a little headache. But 27-14, the Broncos suck. Chiefs going to take care of business.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, guys, I just want to do one quick little draft thing. We're just going to do one player. We were going to do two, but because of time, we're just going to do one player. One player that's bothered you in any way, whether it's his play on the field or something he did off the field. We're looking at you, Tyrann Mathieu. We're looking at you, Justin Reid. But I'm going to start this off, and I'm going to go William Barty. Worst player I've ever seen start in an NFL game ever in the history of the National Football League, maybe in the history of any professional sports league out there. So I've got to go William Barty. Cooked. I mean, he was never in the screen. Anytime a receiver caught he wasn't in the screen. Not like, he was 1 yard away from him. He wasn't in the screen, never made a play in his career.
I got one. Eric Hicks.
Ugh. Yeah. Bootleg.
Just terrible.
Jake Plummer to Dwayne Carswell, bootleg. Always wide open because Hicks is crashing down on the fake.
Always.
So this is basically just your least favorite Chief of all time here, basically. Okay, Eric, mine's Sammy Parker, the receiver out of Oregon.
Yes.
I'll never forget. It is 2007 Chiefs Lions. What a horrible, forgettable season, right? Well, the Chiefs have the ball. They have a chance to go down and try to score to tie the game. Sammy Parker fumbles the ball. The game's over, and he's just laughing about it. I'll never forget him laughing, and Tony Gonzalez came up, got in his face. I hated Sammy Parker then, now, and forever. Shane, can you top Sammy Parker?
No, Noah mentioned it earlier. Tyrann Mathieu was the reason why the Chiefs got a Super Bowl. But there's a fine line you draw. You don't troll. You don't spend your Friday night, which it was before Halloween, looking for Chiefs fans saying anything negative. Tyrann Mathieu is the man of the year for the Chiefs last year, and I commend him for being charity. I commend him again for being a world champion. But you just don't look for unhappy Chiefs fans, and we were 3-4 in last place at that time. So there was a lot of mad Chiefs fans. You don't look for Chiefs fans to troll. It's unacceptable.
Michael?
Yeah, and for me, it's one name. I'm surprised you guys didn't say this name. D Ford. If D Ford isn't offsides, we make it to the Super Bowl and possibly smack the Rams with Gurley not being the same. So it has to be Ford. He owes us a Super Bowl.
He did have like 16 sacks that year. That's the problem. But yeah, that's a good one.
How about let's throw in Harvey Williams too.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, that Harvey.
Warfield, anybody? Steven Nelson.
I got his jersey.
D'Anthony Thomas is one of mine too.
We got a Tyler Palco in the comments.
I love Tyler Palco.
Stabby Piscatelli. He just shouldn't have been there.
You like Tyler Thigpen or Tyler Palco? I just want to correct this.
I like both. I know Palco was 11 because I know he He got smacked against the Patriots. Golly.
Someone
But
says-
You like Palco? I got to hear this story. What
and he
is it about
almost beat the Steelers that next week, I think, on I think it was Sunday Night Football. But yeah, Thigpen is my guy. Y'all know that's my dog, Tyler Thigpen.
Okay.
We got
yeah.
Fenton, we got Philip Gaines, Lynn Elliott. Surprised no one went with the infamous kicker here.
Yeah.
Maybe that was just that's all of Chiefs Kingdom.
It was
shares
so
that
it was
one,
so such despair involved with that I can't go there in my emotions to pick him because he felt it just like we all did, and we've talked to him about it, and I can't go there.
I'm not
I
giving
agree
no
with it.
slack for that.
No, I mean you can't. You
I was
can't.
10 years old. All right.
It was the worst day of my life, buddy.
The ass chewing that I got from these kids when I went back to school on that Monday was terrible. Number one. Number two, those were makeable kicks for him. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Harrison
We should get the
Butker
Cowboys
in here.
for that year.
Butker, I mean, he's
Palco's Hail Mary against the Bears was the ugliest thing ever. A lot of Brody
That
Croyle.
game too. Was that the first game post Todd Haley?
I think so.
was it McCluster that caught that Hail Mary?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Another one, a Chief that I hate, by the way.
McCluster.
Dexter
why?
McCluster.
DeAnthony Thomas also.
I said DeAnthony was one of mine. DeAnthony and Dexter are the same person and traded bodies.
Nah, man, what they do, man?
If we would have done 5 rounds, McCole
Well-
Hardman would have been on there somewhere, 4 or 5 for me.
If you remember, the Chiefs needed a receiver there. They take Dexter McCluster, a running back out of Ole Miss. Golden Tate was sitting there, a real receiver. We went with the fake one like we tend to always do. Darn.
Y'all are ridiculous. Okay, I always have a can't get right. If you've seen the movie Life, there's a character on there called Can't Get Right. It speaks for itself.
Mhm.
So Demetrius Harris, he was once can't get right because
Nick Kaiser.
There you go.
Wow. What is Andy Studebaker on that list too?
Recovered a key fumble against the Chargers in 11.
Oh, Jonathan Baldwin. Okay, Reese. I see.
Leonard Pope, Billy Baber,
Yeah.
Ted Popson. Just get all the tight ends out of all the tight
Chris
ends in Chiefs
Wilson.
history
Throw him in
outside of
there,
Gonzalez
son.
and Kelsey.
Boomer Grigsby. How about him?
Absolutely. Couple last items of
Boomer,
business
yeah.
here, guys.
Hey,
Patrick Mahomes nominated for Walter Payton Man of the Year. He's the
15
Chiefs
in a row.
nominee, and it does a lot of great work in the community, not only here, but in Tyler. Lubbock, Texas, where he went to college. I mean, he's giving back to the community. He's building parks. He's building playgrounds. He does so much, and we got to give it up to him. And you got to tweet it out all over Twitter to try and get him the award. WPMOY Walter Payton Man of the Year Challenge. Hashtag that and at Patrick Mahomes. And
We
that
couldn't
counts
get
the vote.
Kelsey
You can
the
do it as
award.
many times as you want.
Yeah, we couldn't get Kelsey the award last year. So is this gonna manifest itself here? Or
I thought we
no?
tried to get Tyrann Mathieu the Man of the Year.
That was 2 years ago, I think.
Oh, okay, well,
Last year was Kelsey was the nominee.
Yeah.
I know that.
We also
So-
have an event coming
Yes.
up, meet and greet, us here at Starcade Media and our sponsors at Royal Roofing and Solar. Meet and greet event Thursday night, December 8th. You get a chance to win 2 tickets to the Chiefs Seahawks Christmas Eve game. And you also get a chance to win a Mahomes mini flashlight. Those are the limited edition Coors Light ones that they had on sale for just a few days there. And there's going to be more as well. The first beer's on us. We're going to have appetizers set out for you. So come to the Brass Rail.
Michael,
in
we'll see you there.
Northland here. So Thursday, December 8th, about 6 to 8 p.m. It's going to be Thursday night football. We get to make fun of the Raiders and Rams attempting to play a football game. So come out, meet us, hang, have a beer, have a drink, win some stuff. It's going to be great.
Michael, you're everywhere, buddy. So you need to be thinking about this one.
Hey.
You're a man about town, Michael.
Get your consultations, man.
Hey.
Royal Roofing and Solar.
No, y'all, I'm working on getting out there to KC, baby.
Let's do it, guys. It's been great here. Arrowhead Allies each and every week. We got over it. We're moving on. Chiefs and Broncos and 5 games to decide the number 1 seed in the AFC playoffs. It's all going to play out before your naked, steaming eyes here on Arrowhead Allies. Thank you so much for being a part of it each and every week with us, guys. Thanks so much. And go Chiefs.
go Chiefs! Let's go! Let's get it!
Chiefs!
Come on, Chiefs!
Kingdom, go
High.
Chiefs!
All right.